Hello guys! In this video, you'll learn how to see Raw Payload. We will look at an important setting in SKYVVA Integration inside Salesforce called Log Request Response Payload. Introduction. Log Request Response Payload is a setting used to store the message data that is sent and received during integration processing. This helps users troubleshoot and debug integration issues more easily. In simple words, it allows you to see the full request payload sent from SKYVVA and the full response payload returned by the external system. This helps us understand how requests and response logging work in a real scenario. Here, we are on the request interface detail screen. In the example, I have tested the request response with the REST adapter. This interface is already configured to use the REST adapter and message type REST template. Both the interface request and response have already been mapped and linked to each other. In this example, the request interface is used to send data from SKYVVA to an external REST service. The response interface is used to receive and process the response that comes back from that REST service. So this setup gives us both sides of the communication flow. In this example, we use the SKYVVA local API for testing. This is just an example. You can use your own local API based on your requirements. Here's the SKYVVA local API that we use in this video. You can see the request payload and the response payload. This case is just an example. This video does not cover this case. It's only for illustration. If you want to learn more, please check out another video on the SKYVVA YouTube channel. Now scroll down to find the log request response section. Here, you can see the option called Log Request Response Payload. This setting controls whether SKYVVA should store the full request and response payload during runtime. When this option is enabled, SKYVVA logs the request payload sent to the external system and the response payload returned from the external system. This is helpful when you want to check the exact content of the communication. Now check the box in the Log Request Response Payload. Then click Save button. In this demo, we already have an existing REST integration. The request interface sends data to the external REST API, and the response interface handles the returned response. Now, let's start the processing. Select on your request interface and click on the Interface Processing button. Click Send. Go to the Message Monitor tab. Click Apply Filter. Here, you can see that the message status is failed. In this video, we talk about log raw payload. For example, when you see that processing has failed, you need to check the raw payload log to verify your payload. Go to check the message details. Here you can see the raw logging payload section. This icon appears when you have enabled logging for request and response on the interface detail screen. If you don't enable it, the icon will not be shown. Click on it. You will see this pop-up screen. Now you can see the request payload structure that we sent from Salesforce to the external REST service. In this case, we need to check the raw payload log when we want to understand why the processing failed. There might be something wrong. Now look at the request payload structure. You can see it have 3 fields. Now check the request payload in the local API. Here you can see that in the local API, the request payload has 4 fields. This means the request body does not match, which causes the processing to fail. We use this option to log the request and response payloads so we can monitor and troubleshoot the interface. It helps us see the exact data being sent and received, identify errors, and understand why a message may have failed or only partially completed. This option is important for debugging and monitoring. By logging the request and response payloads, you can trace issues, verify data mappings, and analyze failures more easily. Now go to check the mapping. Here you can see that we mapped only 3 fields, missing 1 field. This caused the request payload to not match the payload in the external REST service. Now, let's map billing country.
Click Save.
Now, let's start the processing again. Click on the Message Monitor tab. Click Apply Filter. Here, you can see that the message status is partial complete. The request message is complete, but the response message shows a status of failed. For the first processing, after checking the raw payload log, we can see that the request payload structure did not match the payload in the external REST service. In this case, the response message failed. Now we need to check the raw payload log for the response to verify the payload. Go to the message detail.
Click on this icon.
Here you can see the response payload that we received. You can see that it has 5 fields, but the ACNAME field does not have a value. Now go to check the mapping for the response interface. Here you can see the response mapping. We checked the ACNAME field for the external ID, but in the payload, the ACNAME field has no value, which caused the processing to fail. Now go to the local API to see the payload. Here you can see that the response payload is missing a value in the ACNAME field. I have now set a value for this field. Now, let's start the processing again. Go to the Message Monitor tab. Click Apply Filter. Here you can see that one complete message has been created successfully. The message contains both the request API message and the response API message. So, we check the raw payload log to verify the payload structure. This helps us quickly find any errors and makes debugging much easier.
Summary.
Log request response payload in SKYVVA is used to store the full request and response message content during integration processing. In this demo, we use an existing request interface and response interface with REST adapter. The request interface sends data to the external REST service, and the response interface receives the returned result. When logging is enabled, SKYVVA stores both payloads, which makes troubleshooting and debugging much easier. Thanks for visiting our YouTube channel. See you in the next video.